Good day everyone, my name is Tyron Jadear, one of the member of Group 4. So, ang topic namin is cultural relativism. Ano nga ba ang cultural relativism? Cultural relativism is the idea that norms, belief, and values are dependent on their cultural context and should be treated as such. So, may highlight yung salitang cultural context. Cultural context, it means you should have to understand the culture by means of their own interpretation and not to make judgments. Kailangan mong intindihin yung culture yung other culture nang hindi ka kukumpara sa ibang culture. Basta yun na yun. The concept of cultural relativism state that cultures differ, meaning pagkakaiba ng kultura. Alam naman natin na bawat kultura ay magkakaiba. So yun nga, the concept of cultural relativism states that cultures differ. So that a cultural trait, act, or idea has no meaning or function by itself, but has a meaning only within its cultural setting. Kumbaga, may isang trait, art, act, or idea na may meaning sa ibang culture, pero sa culture na to wala, pero sa ibang culture meron. So for example, marriage is monogamy among the Christians but polygamy among the Muslims. So monogamy means 1:1 or babae or lalaki. Polygamy naman is isang lalaki or 3 or 4 na babae. Polygamy is considered immoral and sinful among the Christians, but moral and appropriate among the Muslims. So, ayun nga. Ang pag-aasawa daw sa Christians is 1:1 lang. Pero sa Muslim, kahit 3 or 4 yung asawa mo, okay lang. So, ayun yun. Yun.
Hi, my topic is about the claims that have been all being made by the cultural relativism according to James Rochelles. Different societies have different moral codes. The moral code of our society determines what is right or wrong within the society. There are no moral truths that hold for all people at all times. What is the moral standard of the society? Morals are the prevailing standards of behavior that enable people to live cooperatively in groups. Moral refers to what society sanctions as right and acceptable. Most people tend to act morally and follow social guidelines. There is no objective standards that can be used to judge one societal code better than another. The moral code of our own society has no special status. It is merely one among many. There is no universal truth in ethics. That is, there is no moral truth that holds for all people at all times. The culture have their own moral standards. In different societies, each with their own culture, there are different ideas concerning how humans are to behave. Different societies and culture have different rules, different mores, laws, and moral ideas. What is the moral code of our society based upon? People set a moral code in a society based on religion, history, culture, or a mix of those sources. Many ethical or moral codes overlap and intertwine with each other. Some examples of moral code in different parts of the world are the 10 Commandments, the Code of Hammurabi, and Eightfold Path, etc. What are the moral codes in ethics? A moral code is a set of rules or guidelines that a group of people follows in order to live a life. Moral codes are heavily dependent upon culture. The moral code that we live by influences many parts of our lives and often dedicated to how we act, how we dress, and even how we treat other people. Culturally tolerance. Being culturally tolerant means not discriminating against people of other culture. In reality, however, not all people practice cultural tolerance. Some people are culturally intolerant, perhaps they suffer from a sense of culturally superiority. Most people think that there have been significant improvements in our society. Example, equality between women and men. If CR were true, there would be no way to say that society has improved. Furthermore, there would be no reason to improve the inequalities that remains. Women are still paid less than the men for equal merit. For a cultural relativist, it is difficult to find a reason for a social activism. Social activism is like protesting for a change in etiquette. This article discussed the development of morality on a social scale. For theories about the development of morality in individuals, see moral development. Moral progress refers to improvement in concepts such as moral beliefs and practices experienced on a societal state. What are some objections to moral relativism? In the eyes of many critics, though, the most serious objection to moral relativism is that it implies pernicious consequences that anything goes. Slavery is just according to the norms of slave society. Sexist practices and right according to the values of sexist culture. Is there a culture-independent standard of right and wrong? The custom of different societies are all that the case. This custom cannot be said to be correct or incorrect, for that implies we have the independent standards of right and wrong, by which they may be judged. But there is no such independent standards. Every standard is culture-bound. We cannot claim that any culture is inferior, but we also cannot criticize the cultural practices of other people. We can decide if an action is right by asking them the standards right of the society. But we cannot claim that such standards can be improved. We can't even make the aim on our own culture. There is no such thing as moral progress.
Ethnocentrism. When people find cultural practices and values not their own as disturbing and threatening, that can be regarded as ethnocentrism. A literal meaning of ethnocentrism is the regard that one's own culture and society is the center of everything and therefore far more superior than others. The word ethnocentrism was coined by American social scientist William Sumner in 1906 to provide a technical term for viewing one's ethnicity or ethno in the center of cultural or centrism. Other meaning of ethnocentrism: measuring or judging one's own culture against another culture and can lead to judging someone else's culture. Negatively, ethnocentrism is also the belief that one's own cultural rules are the best and often better than other cultures. Ethnocentrism had advantage and disadvantage. First is advantage. Develop love for the nation, culture, tradition, and values.